Welcome to the Natural Healthy Lifestyle Show with Win-Win Women. I'm Rhonda Ormond Peterson, and I'm your show host. This show is for information and educational purposes only. The information I share has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. My intent is to teach about healthy choices using natural solutions. Choices done consistently over time become habits, and habits done consistently over time become a lifestyle. Have you ever wanted to learn self-defense, build confidence, and get in great shape while doing it? The answer you're looking for you may find with listening to my guest today. She teaches that martial arts have physical, mental, and social benefits, and it's suitable for everyone. It's about life skills of focus, discipline, and of fulfilling goals and overcoming challenges. It's also about implementing healthy life habits. When I met Kaelie, it was at a class she taught for a group of women and young women. Her energy filled the room, and I knew her message was one I wanted to share with my viewers. So I wanted to tell you about her. Kaelie has been training in martial arts for 10 years. She's a mama ninja princess who loves God. She has discovered her passion for empowering others with the confidence that comes from self-defense knowledge and choosing to believe in and defend your worth. She uses her talents to lift others with a message that it is important to take action to protect and preserve the amazing body and soul that you have. She runs a studio with her husband, Jared, and they teach self-defense principles to help others build skills for lifelong success. Welcome, Kaelie.
Thank you, Rhonda.
So we're excited about you being on the show today. And you've been working in martial arts for around 10 years. What do you like best about the program?
Well, so I grew up actually in the theater world, and I really enjoyed the theater world. It was my whole life. I even taught theater for quite a while. But I found that as I shifted more into martial arts as my focus, and I got into that because my husband's been doing that his whole life. And I found that my confidence it was boosted by the martial arts in the way that it wasn't in the theater world. It's just a different dynamic, I guess you would say. And some of it could just be personality dust settling. But I feel like the focus on martial arts, focusing on your personal progress rather than competing so much as you do in a drama world, it helped me build my confidence. We still have competitions, but it's a lot more about me being my best self rather than being better than someone else, if that makes sense.
Yes, that's great. And so what you found that helps you, this can also help others. I know that you have been inspired and that you teach seminars. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So I love teaching. I always love teaching. Not to like toot my own horn here, but I feel like I have a gift for talking to others and teaching. And I have always wanted to use it. And for a while, my outlet for teaching was theater. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the relationships there. When I got the opportunity to start running a martial arts studio with my husband, one of the things they already had in place was some self-defense. Like they would contact the students and say, hey, if you have a group of people you want to bring to the studio, do a little self-defense class, we're more than happy to do that for you. I watched a few of those, and me just being me said, I like this, but I think I can do it better. And so I took the challenge and I trained as much as I could and tried to figure out the best way to teach in a way that would help people feel inspired rather than afraid, and also teach ways that people could make sure that they were able to remember what I was teaching and be able to bring it to mind in a situation so that they wouldn't be frozen, if that makes sense. Yeah. Sorry about that. So did that answer your question for teaching the seminars?
Yes, and I do feel like you have a gift. You do have a gift.
Thanks.
I've attended one of your seminars, and well, maybe not the full seminar, but at least the event that you came to and taught, and you're excellent. So I know you have a message that you share with others and in your seminars. Could you share the message? Like, I know you also work with young women. And so do you want to share your message with the viewers?
Sure. You did great in the intro, just kind of summing it up. But when I try to go to these seminars, I really try to focus in on what that specific group needs. Sometimes I teach these seminars to 8-year-olds, and I'm going to teach it a little differently to the 8-year-olds. Sometimes I teach it to ladies that are more our age, and then sometimes the young women. And it changes a little bit as far as just kind of how serious I might get on the topic. Self-defense can be, and it is a very serious topic, and is not meant to be taken lightly. But I try to focus in on the empowerment part of it, helping these girls and these women feel more like superheroes or Wonder Woman, if you will, rather than a target or a victim. And for me, I really am passionate about teaching mindset. And like you were talking about with lifestyle is a big focus of your show and your passion. And I feel like self-defense is actually a lifestyle, because it all comes down to how you view yourself and how you view the world around you. If you view yourself in a scared situation and as a potential target, you actually increase your chances of being a target. If you are manifesting for yourself that you are strong and you are confident and you are prepared to defend yourself and the people you love, then the chances of you being a target go down. And so I really focus in on, like I said, that mindset and that confidence. And it's really hard for women to develop that confidence sometimes. We tend to pull our confidence from other sources. If I can do this, then I am worth it. Or if someone says this about me, then I am valuable. But if we're finding that confidence from ourselves and knowing that we are important no matter what, and we are worth protecting and saving no matter what, then we will be a lot more empowered to be able to have the energy and the headspace to do the right thing in a trying time.
Really good. Really good. Thank you. I know that you have a special acronym that you use in your teaching. And so will you share that with our viewers?
Yes. So I always tell them that the first step is that confidence. But then I also am always very clear that just because you're being confident and you're paying attention to your situation, just because you're trying to be in a safe situation doesn't necessarily mean you're going to avoid any danger at all, because bad things happen to good people all the time. It's just one of the ways of the world and life. And so we need to be prepared for if something does come up. And so I do use an acronym to try. That's how my mind works to help remember things. And I hope that it helps my students remember as well. But the acronym I use is SAFER. And I like to say SAFER equals confident. And I just have each letter in the word SAFER stands for a step in a self-defense process. So did you want me to kind of go through each letter and explain?
If you would, please, yes.
Sure, I'd love to. So the S stands for SMART. And we think, well, of course, I'm not going to go walking down a dark alley all by myself. That's not smart. But it comes down to so much more than just the buddy system, though that is very important. It's making sure that we are being in the right place at the right time. I tell the young women and the little girls, if your parents know or are expecting you to be somewhere, you need to be there. That is the smart move to do, so that in any situation, they know where you are and can protect you in an emergency situation, whatever it may be. It also comes down to paying attention to who you're being around, being smart about your relationship choices. And it's very important to just be informed on what the statistics are when it comes to abuse and attacks and self-defense situations. So it's important to know that one of the statistics I always share is that 4 out of 5 attacks are someone that the victim knew personally, and they trusted them. And so it's important, that SMART element, to be paying attention. And that kind of leads into the A, which stands for aware. So you may be smart, you may be using the buddy system, you may be exactly where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, but you may get a feeling or start feeling off. Someone may be making you feel uncomfortable and or trying to get you to do things you don't want to do. And you might get a little bit flustered because it's most likely that this person is someone that you trusted and thought had your best interest in mind. And when that situation happens, it's harder for us to make logical decisions. Emotion kicks in, and sometimes we freeze, and sometimes we don't quite know what to do. So we have to be paying attention and being aware that A in the SAFER acronym, to the signal someone else is giving. And if they're giving a signal like that, that's making you feel uncomfortable, that's when that confidence needs to kick in, and you need to make them aware that you are not okay with this situation. You have to communicate very clearly and say, stop, leave me alone. This is not okay. And your words have to be very determined and commanding. It can't just be a half-hearted or soft, please don't. You have to be very clear on, this is not okay. So first you were aware of the situation, then you made that person aware of how you feel about the situation. If it continues to progress, they don't listen to you as you command and say no, then you need to make other people around you aware of the situation so you can get the help you need. So that aware has those 3 segments to it: you, the attacker, and then help. So that's where we talk about being really loud. And I like to tell the girls to release their roar, that we have to, again, speak with command and clear. And I give them specific voice tracks to use, like, stop, leave me alone, don't touch me, this is not okay, back off. And I tell them to practice those voice tracks, because you don't want to be stumbling across your words as you are asking for help and communicating the situation around you. So your voice is really powerful in this situation. And if you have to make sure you're brave enough to speak loud enough. Some of us are just naturally loud speakers, and we will just tell it as it is. But I also tell my quieter women or girls that they've got to, again, unleash that roar and communicate with that confidence. And it's hard to do that if you haven't practiced it. So in our seminars, we always practice talking loud and commandingly. For the little girls, I say, put on your mom voice. And for the women, they all like, oh, I know that voice. And they realize, okay, that's the voice I've got to use. And we get a little giggly sometimes because it feels strange. But after a few times of practicing it and encouraging them as they are accomplishing this, it's really cool to see the power that comes out of them through their sound. We also use our body language to tell people, be aware that we're not okay with this situation. Strong stances, strong poses, communicating not okay. So that's your SMART and aware, the S and the A for SAFER. Then we always move on to the fight, because you have to be prepared to fight, especially in a circumstance where you may know the person. Your mind is not going to naturally want to fight. Your mind is going to say, wait, I care about them. They're important to me. I trusted them. I don't want to cause any pain. We're also raised to not hit, not bite, not scratch. Like we're not supposed to do those things. So we have to flip a switch in our mind that says, now is the time. I have these tools. I was given these tools. My body is amazing and strong. And now I need to use it to protect myself and possibly someone else. You may not be alone in this situation. You could have a friend or a family member that is also in danger, and you need to be ready. Now, if you've never fought before, that's going to be really hard to do. And I'm not saying everybody has to join an MMA gym and learn how to fight. We have some very specific tools, like our teeth and our nails and just our whole body, that we can be really powerful with. Our elbows and our knees are really strong tools when it comes to a fight. But in my seminars, I teach the women and the girls that there aren't any rules. And I teach a few specific moves because a lot of times our instinct may be to like do the cat paw, which isn't going to work so great. So we use our tools like our hammer fist, the side of our fist, to hit strong and hard. We use our whole body. And I talk to them about how you want to make sure that you're being physically active all the time so that when it comes to a fight situation, you're not going to run out of steam as soon as your adrenaline runs out. Adrenaline can only take you so far. And it is amazing. And there are some heroic stories out there of people's adrenaline just doing fantastic things. But if you are relying solely on your adrenaline, you could be in trouble because you don't know how long you're going to need to fight for. So you're going to want to be constantly working on your cardio and your stamina ability, and then your strength training so that your strikes have power behind them and so that you can have maximum effect. And some people tell me, well, but they're going to be huge and I'm not going to be able to fight them off. We don't know for sure. And everyone's body types are different. But if you're being smart about how you're fighting, physics can be on your side. And that's where training really helps, because there are so many ways that even a small person can be just that much faster or that much smarter and get themselves free of a dangerous situation in that fight scenario. So the fight definitely is like the funnest part of the seminar. We get to strike some targets. We usually go over a kick or two because people like using their legs for that longer distance contact. I really tell them it's hard to practice. You can't really practice biting and clawing, but I try to remind them that those are tools as well. And then after the fight, I always go to the E, which stands for escape. And escape, we talk about how there are, again, with physics, there are ways to get out of different grabs, hair grabs, waist grabs, wrist grabs. There are many different martial arts techniques that some will say this way's better, that way's better. In my opinion, if it works, it works. And so I've kind of combined a lot of my different training moves, simplified some of them to make them as effective as I can. And I try to teach ways to get free of a grasp or a grip so that you can then escape. And that's where your adrenaline has to kick in too, because you may have to run for a long time. But I always encourage the women and girls to find light. So go somewhere where there is light, you're not in the darkness anymore, and find other people. When I talk to the girls, but this works for women too, the people you want to run to, let's say you're in a social situation, maybe like a mall or something, you're going to want to run to somebody that has, I would suggest an adult that has children. I'm not saying all adults with children are trustworthy, but the chances of that being a more safe scenario are much higher. So I always encourage the girls to do that. And always kind of in your mind, just having a plan. If I need to escape this situation that I'm in, where am I going to go? What is my fastest route to a place where I will be safe? So that's what that E stands for, is the escape. And then the R actually stands for two things. It stands for report and repeat. And the report, it's tricky when we talk about, again, going back to that statistic that I shared of the 4 out of 5. If it's somebody that you had a relationship, most likely it's going to be hard to report them because it may damage your reputation. It may damage their reputation. And we get really nervous about that, especially in today's society where reputation is such a big deal. And we have to commit to ourselves right now in this moment that when they chose to try and take away your choice, they took away their choice too. And there's a consequence to this and their actions. And you need to report on it, not only to keep yourself safe, but to keep other people safe as well. And so we really hone in on that, how it's so, even though it's scary and even though it's hard, there are some amazing resources that you can reach out to, trusted family members and leaders and other resources in the community that you can reach out to get help to report effectively this attack or uncomfortable situation. And then the repeat has to do with your training. So you want to make sure that you are constantly, just whenever you can, just practicing either unleashing that roar or reminding yourself of different fighting techniques, or paying attention to your scenario. I always encourage them to teach someone else what they've learned at the seminar, because when you teach, you learn it twice. And teachers get to really learn things over and over again. So I always say, who can you teach this to? And is there a chance that you can come back? Maybe I go back for another seminar. I also encourage them to seek out other self-defense channels or tutors, just people who can help them with other skills. I'm not ever gonna say that I'm the one who knows it all, because I know that I have a very specific offering to give, but there are people out there that have some amazing talents and knowledge to share as well. And so that repeat is really important, because we can't just do something once and then expect our body to kick in. We go over our fight, flight, and freeze. And I mentioned it before, it's very common, especially for women, to freeze in a situation of high stress, because our minds just, for whatever reason, just say, okay, I'm just going to stop. And it's very alarming to me that the statistic as far as women who fight back effectively in an attack situation is 1 out of 10, because so many of them freeze. And my heart breaks for them, because I want everyone to feel empowered enough and strong enough to know that they can fight back. I think sometimes we get in our heads of, I don't want to hurt that person, or what if I do it the wrong way, or so many ways that we stop ourselves, when really, if we can get in that right mindset and be practicing enough that our muscle memory just kicks in. I teach a kickboxing class throughout the week, and we do a lot of self-defense skills. And my newer students will be like, this is a lot. I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember this. But it's really neat to see the ladies that have come consistently over the last 3, 4, 5 years that I've been teaching. They'll go, oh, my muscles are kicking in. I don't have to think about it and overthink about it. My muscles know what to do now with this muscle memory. So it's been really neat to see that repetition happening as they repeat the process. And I know that's not everyone's path, and they don't have to do that. But if it's something you're passionate about and really concerned about, I would highly suggest finding a place that you could train to get that muscle memory really solid. So that's the SAFER acronym, the SMART, aware, fight, escape, report, and repeat.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think it's so effective. And with an acronym, it's so much easier to remember what you've learned there. And you're excellent in teaching that. Now, I know that there are a lot of challenges that women have today. And so how do you teach them to face those challenges?
Oh, it's a really tricky question, because everybody's challenges are just so different. And sometimes I look at other people's challenges and I go, well, mine are nothing compared to that. But as I was pondering this over the last week or so, I just felt really strongly that one of the biggest challenges we have in our society and our culture today as women is the push for extreme. And that a lot of people will push us to be all one way or all another. And I have just felt throughout my life the importance of balance and being able to be as balanced as you can be. So balancing the physical exercise with whatever is that balance for you, maybe an artistic side of things, but being able to feel centered in yourself is really going to help with that confidence. I find that anytime that I push too far to one side or the other, maybe I'm hyper training in my martial arts, and my mom life kind of gets put on the back burner, then I feel off, and I have a harder time making decisions that are best for myself and for my family. But when I bring it back in line and I'm able to balance all the different facets of life, which is what we are, right? Women are amazing multitaskers, and it is a big balancing act. But I would just encourage women, if they're feeling off kilter, to just reevaluate and figure out, where am I off balance? Am I being pushed too hard by the media or friends or even myself to hyper focus on one situation or another, rather than giving a good amount of attention? It doesn't necessarily mean equal to everything. I think we can agree on that. but just finding the balance that works for you is actually, once you can do that, you're going to feel more settled in yourself, more confident, and more ready to take on a stressful situation.
Really good. Thank you. That's a great answer. Now, I know we're winding down on our time, but I would like to have you take just a few minutes, if you would, and share just a message that you want to with our viewers.
Oh, where do we? I just thinking about whoever takes the time to put themselves first. I know that's really hard. I don't know. I'm getting emotional about this. I work with a lot of moms in my kickboxing classes and in these seminars. And when I see them putting themselves first, but not above, I see this power come from them. And it's not, I that comes across as that you're more important. I know that that's not the case. Moms and women everywhere have this natural ability to nurture and love and take care of others. And we know that sometimes that means putting ourselves behind. And I always think of that in the airplane, put your oxygen mask on first. But I remember being younger and thinking, why would I ever do that? And as I get older and am raising kind of humans and seeing it is so important for me, not necessarily like I need my me time and you're not important, but making sure that the activities that I'm choosing for myself and my family are enlightening and inspiring me as well, that I can share that passion and that growth with my children. I love that I train martial arts with my children, and I feel so blessed. I now have a daughter. She's only 1.5, but she already loves to just come to the studio with me and punch stuff and say aya. And I can just see her confidence already growing because it's something that I'm passionate about and I'm sharing with her. But I'm letting something that builds me also build my family and the world around me. I see too many moms say, I don't have time to do an exercise class or a self-defense or anything because I have to run my kids all around. And I respect that. I really do. But I would just encourage anyone who is considering taking a little bit of time out of their day, even 30 minutes, to do whatever physical activity you can. I would highly, highly recommend it because it's just going to change your mindset. It's going to change how you feel about yourself, and you'll be able to interact with your world in such a more positive way if you're feeling better about yourself. And when you can interact with the world positively, it's amazing how a lot of those negative influences are restrained and deterred, because negativity attracts negativity. And so but also positivity attracts. Okay. I know physics opposites attract, but emotionally, I would say it's opposite. So if you can find something for yourself that enriches, uplifts you, that's going to help your whole lifestyle and outlook just be elevated as well.
Really good advice. At any age, I think that's so good. We do have to put ourselves up there and take care of ourselves to help others. So, how can someone reach you that would like to book a seminar or would like to know further information about the martial arts? What's the best way to contact you?
The best way to contact would be through our website. So it's www.blkarate. So blkarate .com. I was thinking of the email, www.blkarate.com. And then once you're there, it'll ask if you want some information. We'll reach out to you and you can tell us, I would like to book a seminar. If you're not in our area, I mean, I've traveled up to an hour or so away to go to different seminars, sometimes like up in the mountains and stuff. It's a lot of fun. But if you're not in our area, I actually, even back like in 2020, when we were all doing Zoom for everything, I did a self-defense seminar online, and it was actually really great. So we can even do a long distance situation, no problem.
Great. Thank you so much, Kaelie. And it's been such a pleasure having you on the show today. We appreciate it. And thank you again.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So to our viewers, thank you for joining the show today. Join us next week and every Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific time.